Welcome to Healthy Frontiers. My name is Dr. Bizzoni, and this show is dedicated to the education of our viewers. The topic tonight is the medical miracle man, and you'll know why I say that in a few moments. My special guest is Mr. Mawson. Mr. Mawson is a wellness consultant. He is the founder, and he works with many different nutritional companies. He empowers people to control their health with nutrition and lifestyle changes. So I'd like to welcome Mr. Mawson to the show.
Nice
Welcome, Bob.
To see you, Doctor.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Bob, you've been given the title the Medical Miracle Man. Tell me about that. How did you get that distinction?
Well, I was a former British soldier and nuclear weapons specialist, and after 12 years service in the Army, unfortunately they discovered I had two leaking heart valves. This was a disease I was born with, just didn't know, and I left the Army and had to have double heart valve replacement. And that began a whole odyssey of my life, and in fact, during the next 30 years I died 6 times and was defibrillated back to life again. In 1998, had a defibrillator implanted in my chest.
Yes.
And then 4 years ago, I had to have a heart transplant. In fact, my friends likened me to a cat with 9 lives, you know.
Sure. After 6 deaths and coming back? Sure.
Yeah, just an amazing journey, actually.
And who did that surgery, and where did you have it done?
I had it done at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York City.
Right.
And it was the very famous, world-renowned heart transplant surgeon, Dr. Mehmet Oz.
Yes.
He's been seen on many television shows here in the U.S. and around the world.
Right.
And I received a 23-year-old woman's heart at that particular time.
And they showed this whole heart transplant on Discovery Channel, and
They did.
you've had a pretty famous heart transplant here, more than most. So tell me about that.
Yeah, they actually came and talked to me and interviewed me at home pre-op, and then my actual transplant was shown. And what was interesting about that program was there was the doctor standing with the woman's heart, which was about this big, in his right hand, and my old diseased heart about this size with 2 metal valves in it about this size in his left hand.
Right.
And there was an empty chest cavity then where the camera went right inside of that. And when I saw that on the TV when I was well, that was quite an emotional moment. And then after that TV show, and I got out of the hospital, I was interviewed by Dr. Oz on the Discovery Channel's studio, at the Discovery Channel studio.
Okay, so that's been shown pretty much nationwide, and so many people have seen that, huh?
Right, millions of viewers. In fact, it was shown around the world, and then it went on to, people could buy the DVD. You know.
Incredible, great. Also, there was a huge article in the Journal News. Is that correct? Showing you and this miracle man.
Yeah.
Can you show us that? Show the audience.
Okay. Yeah. The Journal News did an article on me called "The Medical Miracle Man." It was in a new magazine that they brought out called RX Success, and about how I cheated death 6 times. And there's a whole story of my life in there, actually, from being a soldier to being a Buddhist monk. And there's a picture of me here.
Looks like you're rowing a boat here, but I know that's not it. You're really in a karate uniform. So tell me about that, Bob.
Yes. My wife's a black belt in Taekwondo.
Right.
She's a purple belt in Goju, and my son, who's now 21, was teaching Goju karate. He's a black belt.
Right.
And so he took his dad for lessons, and I'm actually fighting him with a bow there. That's it.
Did you win?
I wish I could.
21-year-old, that'd be a tough one. Bob, incredible story. You've come a long way. You look terrific. Tell me what you do to stay healthy, keep fit, and let's talk about some nutrition. Okay?
Okay. It's very important, I think, for me and for everyone, that we read labels when we buy things at the store. Because most things that we buy, if we read those labels, they contain high fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, and I don't want to eat those over-processed foods with these contents. So I read the labels. I make sure I eat lots of fresh, raw fruits and vegetables.
Right.
I drink lots of water, and I exercise, and I love to walk. And if you can't go out and exercise in a gym or something like that, walking is a wonderful, wonderful exercise. You can do it anytime.
Yeah, and nobody's prohibited from doing that. You can get out there every day, half an hour a day, be perfect with it.
Yes, and in this beautiful weather that we're having now, a wonderful time to walk.
Yeah. And you were talking about processed foods just a moment ago. And, I read where an apple has 5.5 milligrams of vitamin C, which compared to a 1,500 milligram tablet, if you take the 5 milligram, which isn't quantitatively impressive, but it becomes impressive when it's coupled with a lot of other phytonutrients, as we're going to speak about, and the audience will get to know what a phytonutrient is shortly. But it's different color nutrients, right? So if you take that 5 milligram apple and compare it to 1,500, you're getting just as much or maybe better because it's natural and right in there.
Right.
So talk about that.
In fact, medical scientists today are finding components of an apple and other fruits and vegetables that they didn't even know about 10 years ago. Right. In fact, the word phytonutrient, and phyto means plant life,
yes.
The nutrients from plant life, that wasn't a word that was around 10 years ago. That's a new word to the English language.
Right. And
they're discovering that there are certain elements of fruits and vegetables, especially if they're brought together synergistically, all those different colors. If you take the Cancer Society's poster, 30 beautiful fruits and vegetables,
right.
They want us to eat those fruits and vegetables because they do help prevent many diseases.
Right. I mean, there's so many studies. Is there where maybe fibromyalgia, which is certain conditions, arthritis, even more serious conditions like heart disease and cancer can be prevented. And that's just not an old wives' tale. Certainly we know that is true and scientifically been proven to be helpful. Isn't that true?
Absolutely, yes.
So over and above phytonutrients, we're going to say that they're not to be taken in place of fruits and vegetables. I mean, it's just have your fruits and vegetables, maybe 5 to 10 servings a day. Isn't that the recommended, which most people do not get?
That's right.
So,
in fact, I'm sure you know, Doctor, that they're just bringing out the new guidelines for fruits and vegetables. And what they're saying is 9 to 13 servings of raw fruits and vegetables a day. This is the key: raw fruits and vegetables a day. And the more colorful those raw fruits and vegetables are, then the better your chances are that you are preventing many degenerative diseases. As we age, oxidative stress occurs in the body. What happens is just walking around, sleeping, it doesn't matter. Oxidative stress takes place in the body, and what that means is where there's oxidation, just like when you burn wood, there's smoke. Mm-hmm. So there's a kind of smoke in the body. They're called free radicals. Mm-hmm. And those free radicals actually do damage and cause arthritis, heart disease, hardening of the arteries. And as you age, of course, it can also bring about Alzheimer's disease. Sure. However, if we eat lots of raw fruits and vegetables, that will help prevent all those things happening in the body.
Okay, and these free radicals we just spoke about, so the audience understands, are different cells, the bad cells that can cause cancer, that can cause all these other disease processes.
Absolutely,
correct?
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to prevent.
Yes.
And so in addition to a good healthy diet, good nutrition, good exercise, these phytonutrients can be very helpful because we're not getting them on 5 to 10 or 9 to 13 per day, correct?
That's absolutely correct, Doctor, okay. Yes.
Talk to me now. People say, well, I take my vitamins every day. I take my minerals every day. I take a multivitamin. Is that going to cover all the sins? Talk to me about that. I know you can go off on this one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know, there are numerous studies that have been conducted around the world on isolated vitamins or multivitamins, and or vitamins as we call them in
yes.
the UK.
There you go.
And these studies are now showing that they can actually cause more harm than good. And you can't replicate nature. Mm-hmm. You can't replicate, if you take a multivitamin, it doesn't contain broccoli and cabbage and apples and oranges and cherries. Mm-hmm. It doesn't contain lots of fruits and vegetables. It's man-made. Mm-hmm. And you just can't duplicate nature. You really need those fruits and vegetables. However, what I've discovered as I've gone around the world talking to people is that most people can't, don't, or won't eat even 5 servings of raw fruits and vegetables every day, a serving being about half a cup.
Okay, so nobody's really getting what they need.
They're not. And I've given presentations to audiences of a mixed bag. There are doctors there, nurses there, and sometimes several hundred people in the room.
Yes.
And when I asked how many people in the room eat on a daily basis 5 to 9 servings of raw fruits and vegetables. And be honest with me,
Yes,
virtually nobody puts their hand up.
it's true. I mean, in our society, we're a quick society. It's fast food.
Yeah.
But if you want to stay healthy, we certainly have to find a way.
That's right.
All right? And just to go back to fresh fruit and vegetables for a moment, we know that the best kind would be vine ripened, and we see that term quite a bit, and some of the audience may not know what that means. So explain what a vine ripened fruit or vegetable is.
Well, a vine ripened fruit or vegetable means that it's actually ripened before it's picked. It's getting the goodness of the rain, the sun, and the soil. And often when we go to the supermarket to buy fruit, you might get a nectarine there, which is rock hard. Or you might find that when you buy bananas, they're very green. And the reason for that is because we're far removed from the field, especially here in the north. You know,
Yes.
they're not growing bananas here in White Plains or in Westchester County.
Sure.
So they're shipped in special containers, but they're not vine ripened. And it's in those last days. It's the same when you grow tomatoes at home. It's in those last days where that tomato turns from green to orange to red. That's when all the good nutrients are in that particular fruit or that vegetable.
Right.
And the fruits and vegetables we see here in the supermarket, they're very far removed from the farm.
Sure. And how do you know if you're getting a good quality supplement? Now, we're going to talk about phytonutrients, and let's talk about the product called Juice Plus. Okay, this is one of the products out there, and probably one of the finest that there is that my research has shown. Tell me about Juice Plus, and what is that all about?
Okay, doctor, that is 17 raw fruits, vegetables, and grains that have been juiced, and the sugar and the salt is then removed from that juice, and the juice is then placed into an oxygen-free environment with a proprietary procedure, reduced then to powder, and that powder is put in capsules, chewable, and in gummy form for the smaller children.
Right. In gummy form. Talk about that, because there's so many, it's been said that poor nutrition has caused more disease and more problems with kids than tobacco, alcohol, and drugs combined. And that if pediatricians could go out, half of the pediatricians could go out and go fishing if kids would eat properly, which is very difficult to do. So
That's absolutely true. In fact, the gummies are for the smaller children who may have difficulty swallowing a capsule.
like a little gummy bear, right, Bob?
A
I'm
little
sorry
gummy
to interrupt.
bear.
Yeah,
And they're
okay.
delicious.
Yeah.
The problem is, as a grown-up, and even for kids, as you start eating these things, you want to eat the whole.
I think it's a box of candy, right? So
Right.
Hide them.
That's right.
So
And,
what age group for the kids?
You know, if they can swallow solid foods, they can eat a gummy bear, for instance,
Right.
then they can eat these gummies.
Okay.
What we do, in fact, is that what my company is doing is that we have a thing called the Children's Research Foundation.
Yes.
We're actually giving product free for children between the age of 6 and 15 years old.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
How
as
long
long
is
as there's one adult in the family taking the actual regular capsule.
Right, so the children will take the gummy bear up to a certain age, and adults take a regular capsule, so they're taking, it looks like a vitamin pill, but not. Okay, it just has
Exactly.
total fruits and vegetables that have been processed the way naturally.
Absolutely.
And then so they're getting they don't have to now get their 6 to 9 servings of vegetables every day. Right?
Well, you know, this is a whole food.
Right.
And what that means is it's not isolated vitamins here. This is living plant life.
Right.
And we should still be eating our raw fruits and vegetables every day.
Right.
And we recommend that.
Yep.
And I recommend that to everyone.
Yes.
And this is just the next best thing to those fruits and
Right.
vegetables, especially when you're leading a very busy life, as most of us do.
And I know a lot of sports people are taking this supplement, the Juice Plus. I know some high-profile people take it. Tell me, is it going to enhance their performance in any way? Have you seen any studies on that?
You know, a lot of the studies with the sports teams, of course, are anecdotal. They haven't done double-blind crossover placebo studies to see how this affects them. But what we do know is that there have been 11 studies conducted up to this point, And those studies have been conducted around the world on this particular product. And the studies show that it protects the DNA from damage, it boosts the immune system, it's bioavailable, it's going straight into the bloodstream. So it's doing some very good things for the body. It's also opening the arteries after a high-fat meal, because when we eat a high-fat meal, our blood arteries tend to constrict. And it certainly has enhanced the performance of many different people. Bear Grylls used it to climb Mount Everest, man versus wild.
Yeah.
And there's some big names here in the United States and around the world. In fact, if I can just look here, I can tell you that, the NHL, NBA, NFL, and Olympics, people in these varied sports are using it, and weightlifters, bodybuilders, skiing teams, soccer teams, and lots of other people in the sports arena.
And there's no downside to taking this. We always like to ask, is there a contraindication to any of your supplements or taking whole food? Any downside to it?
This is a question that's always asked of me.
Yep.
And the reply to that is, if your doctor tells you you can eat fruits and vegetables, you can take this. And in fact, obviously, as a heart transplant patient, I have to take medication for my heart transplant.
Right.
And if I can take this product and feel the benefits of it, then anyone can.
And it's not going to interfere with any medications that you know of? There haven't been any studies?
Not one bit, no.
Okay, that's excellent. And I just want the audience to remember that we know as doctors that, disease processes just don't happen. It's not 10 minutes before you're in the emergency room that you had the heart attack that the problem was there. It's been coming for years and years to clog those arteries in most cases. So we want to get on some sort of a nutritional program, and if we cannot get on because of our lifestyle eating, I just want to hit that and get that home to so many people out there that you need to take something.
Absolutely.
Isn't that correct?
And we should be taking whole food nutrition. We should all of us be eating more fruits and vegetables.
Right.
We should be drinking more water, and we should be exercising. But as I mentioned before, most people can't, don't, or won't eat those recommended 9 to 13 servings of raw fruits and vegetables every day.
Right.
And this product is the next best thing to doing that.
Right. Especially with our kids, huh? I mean, try to get them to eat 9 to 13. I mean, as adults, we're not doing it in most cases. So what about kids? I mean, very difficult, isn't it?
And American children have hardening of the arteries at a very, very early age. Right. And as you know, obesity, disease, even cancer in children. Children 16 years old in this country, girls having their breasts removed because they have cancer at the age of 16. This is really so sad.
Yes.
And lots of people, young people, with heart disease and all kind of other diseases. Common cold is rampant in the wintertime. These things are all preventable.
Yeah. I think that the message we want to get Mr. Mawson, Bob Mawson, myself, is to make sure your kids are eating and eating properly, but if they're not getting all the fruits and vegetables, then at least supplement it with something. Right, Bob? Do you have any last and final words for the audience?
Yes, I'd like to say that doctors tell me that about 80% of diseases that we see in the United States are diseases of poor nutritional habits and lifestyle.
80%.
80%.
That's huge.
Over a lifetime.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great, Bob. I want to thank Bob for being on the show tonight. It's been my pleasure, really, Bob. If you have any questions for Bob, you can email him on his website, and he will be happy to answer them. If you have or want any information on his product, he'd be happy to send you that information. So thank you. Good night. Look forward to seeing you on the next show.